Maybe you have been asking God for the same thing, again and again and again. God, please save this. Please fix this. Please don't let this end. Please bring it back. Please make it work. You have prayed about it so many times that you don't even know what else to say. Maybe it is a relationship. Maybe it is a dream. Maybe it is a friendship. Maybe it is an opportunity. Maybe it is a version of your life that you are terrified of losing. And every time something begins to fall apart, you pray harder, you hold on tighter. You ask God for another sign, another chance, another miracle. But what if? The real battle is not between you and the thing you are losing. What if the real battle is between your desire and your surrender? Because sometimes you are not asking God to save something because He told you it must stay. You are asking Him to save it because you cannot imagine your life without it. And there is a difference, a very important difference. You can believe in God and still be afraid of His answer. You can pray and still secretly demand a specific outcome. You can say, God, your will be done, while silently meaning, God, your will be done, as long as your will is what I want. And maybe that is why this season feels so painful, because God may be teaching you something deeper than how to receive. He may be teaching you how to surrender. There is a kind of prayer that sounds like faith, but underneath it, there is fear. God, please let this person stay. God, please don't let this door close. God, please don't let this dream die. God, please make this work. And there is nothing wrong with asking God. There is nothing wrong with bringing your desires to Him. The Bible tells us to pray, to ask, to seek, to knock. God is not offended by your desires. He is not angry because you want something. He is not disappointed because you care. But sometimes, something we desire slowly becomes something we cannot surrender. And that is where the struggle begins. Because now, you are not simply asking God for something, you are asking God to agree with you. You are not simply trusting His wisdom, you are trying to convince Him that your wisdom is better. You are not saying, God, I trust you with the outcome. You are saying, God, I trust you if you give me the outcome I want. And maybe you have never said it out loud, but your heart knows. You have made peace, dependent on one answer. You have made hope, dependent on one person. You have made your future, dependent on one door. And now, the thought of God saying no feels like the end of everything. But what if? God is not asking you to stop caring. What if He is asking you to stop controlling? This is why surrender is so difficult, because prayer can be easy. You can pray for what you want. You can ask God to change the situation. You can ask Him to fix the relationship. You can ask Him to open the door. You can ask Him to give you the opportunity. But surrender says, God, even if you don't, I will still trust you. And that is a completely different prayer. God, save this, is one kind of prayer. God, if this is not your will, give me the strength to release it, is another. The first prayer focuses on the outcome. The second prayer focuses on trust. And maybe God is bringing you into a season where He is teaching you the second prayer, not because your desire is wrong, not because your dream is meaningless, not because your love was fake, but because God wants you to know that you can lose something without losing Him. You can lose a relationship without losing your identity. You can lose an opportunity without losing your purpose. You can lose a dream without losing your future. You can lose control and still be held by God. Think about Abraham. God gave Abraham a promise connected to Isaac. Isaac was not just a child. Isaac represented the promise, the answer, the miracle, the thing Abraham had waited for. And then God asked Abraham to surrender Isaac. Imagine that. God had given him something and then asked him to place it back in his hands. This is one of the most difficult truths about faith. Sometimes God may give you something and later ask you, "Can you trust me with it?" Not because he wants to destroy it, not because he wants to punish you, but because the gift must never become greater than the giver. And Abraham had a choice. He could say, "No, I waited too long, I prayed too long, I suffered too much, I cannot give this back." Or he could trust God, even when he did not understand. The powerful part is, Abraham did not have every answer. He did not know exactly what God would do next. He had to walk forward with incomplete understanding, and maybe that is where you are right now. You are standing in a moment where you cannot see the outcome. You do not know whether the thing will stay. You do not know whether the relationship will be restored. You do not know whether the door will open again. You do not know what happens next. And God may be asking you, "Can you trust me?" without knowing. Because real faith is not always knowing what God will do. Sometimes real faith is knowing who God is, even when you do not know what He will do. You may not know the next chapter, but you know God is still God. You may not know how the situation will end, but you know God sees more than you see. You may not know what you will lose, but you know your life is not outside His hands. And maybe that is the faith God is building in you. Not the kind of faith that says, "I know exactly what God will do," but the kind that says, "I don't know what God will do, but I know I do not have to control everything." There is a reason we struggle to surrender, because surrender feels like losing power. You think, if I stop fighting, everything will fall apart. If I stop trying, they will leave. If I stop checking, I will miss my chance. If I stop holding on, I will lose everything. So you keep holding, you keep chasing, you keep explaining, you keep trying to make something happen, you keep asking God to save it, while using all your strength to keep it alive yourself. And maybe you have become exhausted because you are trying to do God's job. You are trying to control an outcome that was never yours to control. You are trying to change a heart that only God can change. You are trying to force a door that only God can open. You are trying to preserve a season that only God knows when to end. And maybe the exhaustion is not because you are weak. Maybe it is because you are carrying something God never asked you to carry alone. Jesus understood this kind of surrender. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus prayed. He was honest. He did not pretend the moment was easy. He did not pretend he was not afraid. He did not hide the pain, but after expressing his desire, he surrendered. "Not my will, but yours be done." That prayer is powerful because Jesus did not deny what he wanted. He brought it honestly before the Father, but he did not make his desire his God. He did not say, "Because I want this, it must happen." He said, "Father, I trust you more than I trust my own understanding." And maybe that is the prayer God is inviting you to pray. Not, "God, I don't care anymore." Not, "God, I don't want it anymore." Not, "God, make me stop loving it." But, "God, I still care. I still want it. I still hope for it. but I trust you more than I trust my desire. That is surrender. Maybe you are waiting for God to change the situation, but God is changing your relationship with the situation. Maybe the door is still closed, but you are no longer desperate to break it down. Maybe the person is still distant, but you are no longer willing to lose yourself trying to make them stay. Maybe the dream is still uncertain, but your identity is no longer dependent on achieving it. Maybe the answer has not changed, but you have, and sometimes that is the miracle, because the situation may not immediately change, but you become strong enough to stop letting the situation control you. You begin to understand, I can pray for this without worshiping it. I can hope for this without making it my only hope. I can love this person without losing myself. I can desire this dream without believing my life is meaningless without it. And slowly, you begin to become free. The Bible says in Proverbs 3:5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding." Notice what that means. It does not say, "Trust God only when everything makes sense." It does not say, "Trust God only when you understand His plan." It says, "Do not lean entirely on your own understanding, because your understanding is limited. You see one moment. God sees the entire story. You see what you want. God sees what you need. You see what is happening. God sees what is coming. You see the door closing. God sees what is beyond the door. And maybe you are asking God to preserve something because you are looking at today, but God is looking at your entire life. You may be saying, "God, please don't take this from me," but perhaps God is not asking you to give it up forever. Perhaps He is asking you to release your grip. There is a difference between holding something and being held by something. You can hold a dream without allowing the dream to hold you. You can love a person without making them responsible for your identity. You can desire a relationship without believing your worth depends on it. You can want a door to open without believing your future dies if it remains closed. And this is what God may be teaching you. He may not be asking, "Do you want this?" He may be asking, "Can you trust me, even if you don't get this?" That question reaches deeper, because anyone can trust God when God gives them exactly what they want. But what happens when God says, "Wait"? What happens when God says, "Not yet"? What happens when God says, "Not this"? What happens when God says, "I have something different"? That is where faith becomes real.